So Marvel has launched its Spotlight, which is basically a new collection of projects that, according to Marvel, require no real prior knowledge of the MCU and can be sort of enjoyed in there without be watching countless other shows to see how they tie in. This kind of had some bad rep. People saying before it came out that it was terrible. We know that it was initially going to be, was it 6 episodes, 8 episodes, and they cut it down.
8 episodes originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was going to be 8 episodes. They cut it down to 5, so it comes with some baggage. Now, I think with the first episode, which I've only seen, while the episode does a lot of heavy lifting, I think the reintroduction of Maya, played by Alika Cox, and reintroducing the Kingpin, who we last saw both of them in Hawkeye, I thought it was a pretty good start. It includes scenes from Hawkeye. It starts out almost like a bit of a clip show to get viewers up to speed on Maya and the story so far, given those who missed it. We got to see the character, and I think what you and I really liked about it was the Vincent D'Onofrio again playing the Kingpin, a role that he brings some quiet menace to, and it now ties in the Netflix shows into the MCU.
Yeah, I've seen the whole series. I won't talk about plot points, etc., but I'll echo what Lee said. Is that
I see what you did there.
But that it feels something fresh. It feels like a calling card for where they're going to go with this street level stuff that they've got from Netflix. And it's great to see D'Onofrio back as the Kingpin, because he owns that role with a subdued, subtle menace. He's not. I mean, when he lets his rage out, as we've seen in the past, he's a fierce machine. But a lot of the time, it's just in his very polite exchanges, and that's the Kingpin for me from the comics. That a lot of the time he just talks, and he intimidates just by talking purposefully but peacefully with people. Needs to say that Alika Cox in the lead role is absolutely magnificent. She is the true star of this, as she should be. It's her show. We've had it up other times before with some Marvel properties where the lead character isn't really the one in the spotlight for most of it, but she's in the spotlight throughout, and you get some backdrop of like the Indian reservation upbringing that the character had. You get a whole in-depth spirituality aspect of it over the run of the series, and you get that street level violence, and the violence is bloody and brutal. It warrants the 16+ rating that it's got on Disney Plus, because when it goes brutal in some of the later episodes, it goes really brutal. I think that it's not top tier of Marvel shows, but this is up there with, it's close to Hawkeye.
Yeah, and I loved Hawkeye. You know, those who already have made up their mind, because people have made up their mind. Well, when I say people, some men had made up their minds that they were dead set against this character, and I don't think they're going to change their opinion even if they watch it. For the first episode, and it was great to see Kingpin. And I know, sadly, I got the teaser spoiled for the end of the series. But hey, it makes me more giddy for Daredevil, who's my all-time favorite comic character. So while I thought he got off to a muddled start, I thought that by the end of episode 1, certainly there was a lot of promise for where it was going to go.
Yeah. What's good to say is, like, we don't know what the whole lot would have looked like if it was 8 or 9 episodes, but it does feel well paced at 5 episodes. So whatever editing they've done it for the right reasons, because it doesn't really slow down. There doesn't feel like a wasted episode. Everything feels like it's a progressive story, and I don't binge watch, but with this I binged it.
Awesome.
From director F. Gary Gray comes Lift, a film which from the start pushes the suspension of disbelief by having Kevin Hart playing Cyrus, a mastermind thief whose crew are doing some kind of art world heist. Once you get over that and past the attempt to be all down with the times by having the opening heist have something to do with NFTs, and it's worth noting that the film is immediately dated by this aspect given the recent downturn of NFT value, the main plot kicks in. Cyrus and his team are caught by Interpol agent Abby, played by Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and offered a deal, and if they help hijack the transportation of gold bullion being flown from London to Zurich by terrorist mastermind Lars Jorgensen, played by Jean Reno, as payment to a hacking group Leviathan, their charges will be dropped. From that point on, this essentially becomes Ocean 747, as the crew prepare for a mid-flight heist, putting together a slick plan, with scenes of testing on equipment they design and plotting out the heist, before moving on to the actual heist itself, and it sticks strictly to formula. Anyone versed in even a handful of heist movies will be expecting the double plays and the latter act flips and twists that come, even if they are somewhat preposterous to accept as being planned all along. But as a comedy heist film, it does kind of work. It's a fun cast that keep the energy flowing. Billy Magnussen as Magnus the Safecracker is particularly entertaining throughout. Vincent D'Onofrio playing Denton has a few good moments, but he feels seriously underused in this film, and his character's presence, when you think about it, isn't actually required at all. The action moments are fun, albeit a tad ridiculous at times, but they manage to entertain enough thanks to Gray's direction. But what lets this film down is that very thing that I mentioned at the head of the review, Kevin Hart. He's woefully miscast here. He's given a role that doesn't really call for his trademark underdog humour, and he struggles to convince as any kind of genius mastermind. Certainly no Clooney. He lacks the presence and cool that would let you accept that his crew look to him and would follow him into certain danger. It's passably entertaining, with a slickness yet generic feel that Netflix action films all seem to have. The bright side, however, is that unlike most of their output, this one actually feels better paced and doesn't outstay its welcome. Worth a watch, but instantly dismissible at the end.